I'm talking to Igor Pejic. Now, he's the author of this book, Blockchain Babel, which was the one of the FT book of the months in March. So, very excited about this. Igor's going to present later on today, talking about blockchain and the implications for the security side. But I wanted to talk to him specifically about how it's affecting the IT industry generally. So, what's the importance of blockchain in IT generally?
So blockchain is more or less a completely different way of handling databases, cryptographically secured databases. And of course it originated in the financial sector because it allowed you to move around money without the classic intermediaries that we have. But it is equally important, and it has been said that it can transform basically all kinds of industries where we need a ledger where multiple nodes have access rights and editing rights, but they don't trust each other. So we have seen it in enhancing supply chains. Some commentators have said that you could use blockchains in order to safeguard democratic elections, basically everywhere where you need to have a proof of identity, a proof that something was done along the supply chain or along, as I said, in elections, who has cast a vote, for example, and where.
It's interesting. How does it impact, say, the managed services sector, where you've got people adding services into the work in the cloud or as a software product?
I'm glad you're mentioning this because the managed services part is a very, let's say, new area addressed by the blockchain. So it's still a very nascent technology. We have had Bitcoin coming out maybe 10 years ago, 2008, 2009. And ever since, there has been a lot of development, a lot of going forward with the technology. And we're now lately in the last year or two seeing a massive interest of cloud computing providers offering blockchain as a service, or BaaS as we call it, basically allowing smaller companies not to build up their whole infrastructure of blockchain, but you can simply scale it the way you want it, the way your business needs it, and you can of course also just rent this. Via this model you can rent a blockchain application. There's no need to have high capital expenditures. So it's pretty similar to the software as a service model. And also, if we're looking at the major competitors or the major companies offering this, we're talking about companies such as Google, IBM, or Amazon.
And I've read your book, it's very good. I think one of the strongest messages is that this has implications for every industry, every vertical, every type of customer. Is that right?
It's generally, yes, it is correct. However, we have to say that in many cases it doesn't make sense to have a blockchain application or a blockchain solution, because sometimes a simple database just works better, is cheaper, is more efficient. But as I said, really in this use case where you have multiple nodes that don't trust each other and you have to create trust algorithmically in order not to have these intermediaries, it definitely makes sense. So theoretically, every industry is up for disruption, I would say.
That's very interesting. I hope everyone reads your book and gets engaged in this. How do you see it panning out over the next year or so? What will happen?
I believe that we're going to see much more influence by data giants. I mentioned Google and Amazon, the big cloud computing centers they have, especially AWS, Amazon Web Services. We have seen that they have built the largest global infrastructure for end-to-end blockchain development and applications. So this will for sure be another big part, and we will see a lot of different industry-specific applications, I would say, that get more concrete, where the use case is also corroborated by business case behind this. Finance is definitely the first industry to be disrupted, but it's not the only one. We see a lot of application in energy. So just to keep track of who is producing how much energy, who is using it up, and these examples abound.
And it's definitely something that the IT industry, its resellers, partners, service providers need to know about.
Absolutely, and it's a huge infrastructure. So initially we said, or it was said by commentators, by early adopters, that the blockchain can bypass the whole system and have things very much simplified, which is true, but you still need a lot of trusted entities, you still need service providers, infrastructure providers, so there's a whole lot of companies that will profit from this blockchain economy.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.